offensive line pass protection, it's going to need some work. You know, we've been focusing on pass protection a lot this offseason, but you know, when you have an offensive line with 3 new starters, it's going to take some time to build that in-game chemistry, but we're definitely taking strides in the right direction.
Nick?
As far as the identity of this group, you guys talked all offseason about what you wanted it to be, but what would you assess it to be through the first 2 games?
I would assess our identity as just. I feel like our identity is still the same. You know, we're still finishing blocks whenever we're in the right position. But that's the thing. Whenever we're in the right position, whenever we play with the right technique. So our mindset is still being dominant, still being nasty, finishing blocks. That mindset is still there. We just have to add technique and what we learn in practice to that mindset. But our identity hasn't changed. We're still the same offensive line. We just have to back up all the stuff that we taught this offseason. We just got to prove it now.
Austin?
Yeah, on Saturday night, Coach Saban said that game was a midterm, not the final. You know, with the full season still ahead of you, how do you feel the mindset of the team is right now?
The mindset of the team, we're pissed off. I'm not gonna lie. Who wants to lose at home? You know, but there's only ever been 2 undefeated teams win national championship here at the University of Alabama, and all of our goals are still obtainable. We still win the SEC West, we still win the SEC, and get a college football playoff spot. So this was just a wake-up call for us, and we're all taking heed to what Coach is saying, and we understand that in order to be who we are, to be who we need to be, in order to play at Alabama standard, we have to execute.
In the back, Ryan?
Yeah, touching on that, he said he expects this team to respond. He said he hasn't talked to you guys since Saturday. What does respond mean in your guys' eyes?
In our eyes, to respond is to play to the Bama standard. And that's what we didn't do. We got a lot of opportunities to capitalize off of their mistakes, and that's what we didn't do. And that's not playing to the Bama standard. So our response from us is playing to the Bama standard.
Stay in the back with Johnny.
Hey Tyler, you guys got called for a legal man downfield as an offensive line group. When you have a scrambling quarterback like Jalen is, how difficult is that to be wary of trying to stay within the field of play so you don't get flagged for that while at the same time still being able to block downfield if he does tuck the ball and go?
It's very difficult, you know, and it's hard to be mad at Darian Davenport for that penalty, but it's a rule. Like you said, having a mobile quarterback like Jalen, you want to get downfield and get a block for him. So that's a rule that we just kind of have to live with. It's part of the game, but that's who we are as an offensive line. We're going to go downfield and get blocks. We're going to finish plays. We're going to play through the whistle. So he did what any of us would have done. You know, so we'll just learn from it and go for it.
Charlie?
What do you say to a young guy like Caden who might have his head down after a rough start against an opponent like Texas?
You're an 18-year-old playing in front of 100,000 people, playing against one of the most talented teams in the country. You know, like you're going to make mistakes, no matter what it is. And I told him my story. I gave up a sack against Texas A&M last year. I just took him through my mindset. And the thing that inspired me about Caden is, he and I had that same mindset. After he had those bad plays, we talked it through. He was like, all right, let's play, let's roll. And that's what kind of kept me going last year, to see that out of him, to know where I am, to know how my season ended up after giving up that sack against A&M after he had this kind of game. I'm very excited to see how he responds for the rest of the season, because I see a lot of great things coming from him.
Zoom in with Mike. Rhoda.
The running backs combined had 63 yards on 20 carries. Just how does that compare to your expectations for that group and what you're trying to create for them later this season?
Obviously, that's not what we wanted to put out as an offensive line. You know, JC and I, Seth as well. We've all talked about being dominant at the point of contact, dominating the line of scrimmage, and we obviously didn't do that this weekend. You know, so we just got to hone in on our technique, trust the running game, trust the running backs, and really come together with them and see what they're looking at as far as where they're hitting the hole, what's making them come back, and just grow as a team. You know, it's only week 2. It's a long season, so we're definitely going to grow from here.
Chase?
In pass protection, even when you're able to stop your man, Coach Saban mentioned that you guys gave up a little bit too much ground before you anchored. What's the key to dropping a quicker anchor?
So Texas, they brought a lot of games, so the reason why some of us were a little late to anchor down is because of probably having NT game, TN game, EN game. So just when it comes to the team, you have things in the back of your head, but when it comes down to it, we got to anchor. We got to anchor, so that, you know, no matter what that other team presents, we just have to do our job and stay true to our rules at the end of the day.
In the middle.
You guys were able to run the ball fairly well in the first half. What changed, and then what can you guys do to improve the run game going against USF this weekend?
I think anything really changed. You know, we just have to carry. We started out hot. We just have to be able to carry that momentum into the second half. You know, and we just have to trust in Coach Reese's play calling and trust in him and just execute what he has set out. But as far as going into USF, we're going to go into that game plan meeting later, figure out what we need to do, figure out what they present, and just really practice better and pay more attention in practice to what they present and how we can take advantage of what they do.
Up front with Joe.
Tyler, what was the key? Or the Texas defensive line was very physical. What was the challenge, and how do you think you guys met their defensive line's physicality?
I feel like we met their physicality. Is just towards the end of the game they started doing a lot of movement, you know. So that was the thing that Coach Wolf pointed out to us. These guys are physical. They play low, so that's something that we focused on a lot this week. But we just have to be more consistent with that.
In the back.
Coach Saban said multiple times that the future is now. What do you think that means in terms of how this team needs to respond the rest of the season?
As far as Coach Saban saying the future is now, we get compared to a lot of the older Bama teams, you know, and it's just time has passed. Now me saying that, we're still playing to the Bama standard. We still want to play the same way that those teams played, but it's just a different generation of guys, different group of guys. You know, there's different things that we have to deal with as college athletes today. But regardless of that fact, we're still playing to the Bama standard. The Bama standard is the goal week in, week out. Those guys laid the groundwork, they laid the foundation of who we need to be as a team. And then us as being the future, we add our, we adjust to that. But at the end of the day, it all reverts back to the standard.
Two more, Tony.
As someone right next to Seth, what do you tell him to kind of shake off those snaps, and then also just how much confidence do you have in him moving forward?
I have the ultimate confidence in Seth. You know, we all have that. But it's all about how you respond. You know, so Seth had that same mindset. I feel like all officers have to have that mindset of like, okay, I messed up, next play. So whenever I saw Seth, I was just like, hey, be you. You know, shake it off. Next play, there's nothing you can do about it now. Control what you can control. He can't go back and unflinch the ball. You know what I mean? So what's the point of dwelling on it? We got a game to play. So I have the ultimate confidence in Seth.
Last one, Katie.
Kind of similar to that, Coach Saban said after the game that he didn't see Jalen having his head down after he made mistakes. Is that something you kind of saw him keeping his head up, and really the offense as a whole, mistakes were made? Is it confidence over kind of guys putting their head down?
Yeah, I mean that's what we love about Jalen. You know, through the mistakes that he made, he never put his head down. He was always there for us. He always had a smile on his face, even down to the last drive. He was like, I love where we are. You know, because he still had that hope. He still had that drive. He still had that fight. That's what I'm most proud of about our offense. Although we didn't execute, we fought. You know, every guy. I'd like to give a shout out to the wide receivers because they showed up when they needed to. Give a big shout out to the tight ends because they blocked really well. You know, we just have to be together be better together as a whole than just ultimately execute. And I'm excited to see how we grow the rest of this season as an offense.
Thank you, Tyler.
Thank you, y'all guys. Have a great day.